Hi, hello. Me again. And sitting on the floor again. And it's the, hopefully, second to last or the last day of the heat wave. So it's very hot. I mean, it's less hot than it was, feels like. Also, like, I'm listening to my own voice and I'm like, it's sounding a bit um, higher up than usual, but yeah. So it's either it's hot and the city is suffering, meaning like I also should say like a lot less because listening back to my own stuff, I noticed it, and it's harder to control than I thought it is. But the city's suffering, meaning it's hard in the metro, it's hard on the streets, it's hard next to the stone buildings, and like for example, sports. It's only possible in the early morning, which I can't bring myself to do because like waking up at 6 has never been my thing. Or it's also possible in the evening, which is like at 9. If you begin at 9, then you're still fine, but it's still hot. So yeah, so kind of like running into the night in my case. But yeah, what happened is what happened is together with the heat wave, we're almost at summer, and I'm almost like at video number 45 or something, which I kind of said to myself that I less want to make perfect videos or perfect, what I'm saying, but I more want to see what kind of person is looking back at me from the video number 50, for example, from the video number 100. What kind of person that is? Who is she? Is she more confident? Is she more resourceful? Is she more sure? Is she more herself than on the video number one? You know, but I'm still amazed that it's almost summer, and I love summer. I love summer. It's my favorite season. I've always thought of summer as one life, one little life, which is an expression in one of the languages I know. And I've always thought that summer is something separate. Like there is the whole year, and there is just summer from the beginning until the end, and it's something unique. And for me, summer is from the 1st of June to the last of 31st of August. So like there is this song, Last Day of Summer, and I try to always listen to it on the 31st of August, even though sometimes people measure summer differently. But overall, what I wanted to talk about, and this topic that kept popping into my head for a few days straight already, is the topic of fighting and struggling for everything. And my habit that came up recently in such a clear way, that I have a habit of fighting and struggling of, for everything, and like to see everything, as a thing to overcome. I somehow got into my head that everything I want is very hard, very very hard, and I'll have to struggle and fight and work and struggle and fight and work, and it's going to be a constant struggling up until the very end, up until the goal is reached. And I somehow made it in my head that it's going to be a challenge, it's going to be a struggle, it's going to be a fight, it's going to be so hard. And recently I've been reflecting on that. I'm thinking, but why so? Meaning, why can't it be the flow? Why can't it be natural? Why can't it be just the flow of life? Meaning, how to explain? Something that comes to my mind is a running example again, but let's just take the running example. Some people, like, if you get into your head that running a certain distance is very hard, and it's a constant struggle and constant fight, you will mentally start struggling and fighting kilometer like two. But if you let into your head that it's just the present state and it's a flow, and you have to stay in the present while you're running, stay in the present moment and not think about the end or the beginning or how many kilometers are left or any of your worries, any of your stresses and conflicts and people and anything. If you don't struggle mentally, or you constantly think about, oh, are my legs painful, is my back painful, is my head painful, is my neck painful, oh, will I hold it out until kilometer X, will I hold it out until the end, will it be very hard, like, it will be very hard but because you're thinking it's very hard. And the more you stay in the present moment, the less hard it is. The more you are in the flow, the less hard it is. And recently I don't know, I've been struggling a lot generally this year, because when you're changing, you are always struggling. You're struggling against your old self. You're struggling against your solitude. You're struggling against your changing body and your changing beliefs and your changing uh, mm, inside, sort of. Because what's happening this year is that I think I've already mentioned it somehow, that I'm kind of like getting out all the old stuff that I believed in, all of the old things that I was doing constantly, all of the old like crap that was in there, and getting into new, new way of thinking, a new way of holding myself and of behaving. And it's hard, and I can't say that I've mastered it perfectly, but also I'm struggling. I've noticed up until, sorry, in interactions with people, with certain people, like in certain confrontations, when I have to find forces to fight for myself, for my rights, for the things I'm owed, I find that it's very hard for me to fight for this. It's just very hard to fight, period. Because if you've ever worked in like corporate environment, or even like when you're an adult, sometimes you're just required to stand your ground and to stand against something or someone. And I find this year it's just particularly exhausting and hard. It's just particularly when I have to find forces to do it, when I have to find something in me to defend myself, to fight for myself, to struggle. It's hard. I would rather someone fought for me, of course. But my thought was that I kind of got used to unnecessary struggle. You know, I got used to struggling unnecessarily. I somehow got it into my head that like anything I have to do would be hard and a struggle. I don't know, gathering documents for some application, or closer to writing, like editing, is such a struggle. There's a lot of chapters. I'm getting these ideas in parallel. Like, this chapter is not that strong. This chapter is quite strong, but not in the right place. Like, all these thoughts in my head. And I'm like, oh, this is never ending. Or, for example, like last week, I've got a small win. Actually, I have studied querying, but not in English, in my native language, and my native language is easier than in English, because you just have to do the synopsis, the annotation, and the text itself, and to like the comparative titles and the size and everything. But you've got to like get it all down, and then to send it off to like a publishing house. And I've did this with two of my manuscripts with three publishing houses. One manuscript I finished like a couple of years ago already, and one of them is a recent one which I've went through, and I've like edited it again. So basically, I'm quite happy with with the that I've done that. But whenever I'm thinking about the work that is still to do with the on the English one, whenever I'm somehow I'm like, oh God, it's going to be such a fight. It's going to be such a struggle to get it in good shape, or maybe it's shit afterward. Like, you know, you see, like there's still this old story that like maybe it's shit. It's still in my head, and despite months of self work, it's so hard to get out of me. It's so hard to get it out of my body, of my head. But here specifically, I'm not even talking about it possibly being shit. I don't care. I'm talking about just that I always somehow think it's like hard. It's a struggle. It's hard. It's a struggle. Editing. It's hard. It's a struggle. Like rejection is hard. Like and I keep like even before I begin, like this is also the crucial part, even before I begin doing anything, even before I'm in the text and even before I'm in the flow, I begin to like to physically like I don't know think that oh no, like tomorrow I would like to do tomorrow, I would like to do it in like week in 2 weeks and months and 2 months, like I don't want to, like it's you know physically like shit, I'm saying like again, but physically recoiling from it. Let me check the time. Yeah, okay. So that's a challenge when when you want to finish something, because seeing everything as a struggle really complicates your life. Really complicates your life. It gets so bad that at a point you just get up in the morning and you don't want to do anything because everything is a struggle. Because you have this list that you have to do in your head, whether it's related to your personal projects or work or admin stuff or anything else. But you're so caught up in this idea that it's going to be hard that you're like, God, like, why does every day need to be hard? Why does everything need to be hard? And I've been thinking that I should actually, that it's actually not hard. Meaning, if it's a flow, even if I'm rejected, even if, there is disappointment, if it's a flow, it's not hard. If I'm just editing it and I'm in a state of flow, it's not hard. If I'm writing and I'm in a state of flow, it's not hard. Even if I'm applying and I'm also in a state of flow and I'm being rejected, it's not hard. It's just the part of the path, but it's not a struggle. I've heard that phrase once and it stayed for me, with me, for forever maybe. That there are people, they work hard but they don't struggle. You can work hard but not struggle, but not fight. You don't have to fight for everything because at the end of the day it's just exhausting. You're just exhausting yourself, and I'm exhausting myself even before anything actually happened. Like I'm still in the middle of the journey. I'm closer to my goal than I was, that's for sure. After like 5 months, of course I am, but I'm still in the middle of it. I don't even know whether this manuscript will actually attract any interest from anyone. And if it doesn't, I have like on the backs of it a second one, which I've started to keep myself distracted and to keep myself interested. But I don't have to exhaust myself even before I begin, you know, like even before anything happens. Because I know that exhaustion is this thing which, for me, it's very hard to control. Because at times I feel very energized, full of energy, full of light, full of motivation, full of power. At times I feel like I could do anything. And I'm not kidding. I'm really like, working on yourself gives results in the sense that you begin to feel like you can do anything. But at times I feel already exhausted by thought alone of what I still have to do. And I recently realized that I have to get rid of that thing that you gotta work and you gotta struggle and you gotta fight for everything. I have to get rid of that false belief. I have to get I have to get it out of my vocabulary. Like, no, no, because otherwise it's exhaustion every damn day. It's otherwise it's exhaustion even before the manuscript is finished. uh, uh, Otherwise it's just exhaustion when you've only sent out like two applications out of 80 applications. And I recently read on Instagram this author who only got the first full manuscript request, I think. I don't know, like after quite a lot of rejection. And you never know which application will bring you the result you want, which application will bring you closer to what you are dreaming about. It might be years, I don't know. It might be months, it might be days. There are people who begin the applications or the querying process and within 3 weeks they already got an offer, which is unusual but possible. There are people who do it for years and who don't have a single response or like a single positive response. And yeah, and I've also recently read also on Instagram from another author that she's getting rejection after rejection, and she's wondering whether she's mentally equipped to do this, and I'm 100% with her. Like this type of exhaustion is and this type of stress is something completely different. But at the moment what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get rid of this thing that I have to fight and struggle every day. Because I don't want to live that way. That's also one of my the word beef comes to mind, but like one of my points which I don't like about corporate, because you have to struggle a lot and you have to fight with for your place, fight with other companies, fight within your company, fight for your ideas to be heard, fight for you, for yourself, for your career. Just fight if someone disagrees with you, fight if the invoice is wrong, fight. Like, I don't know, maybe it's not fighting, maybe it's the wrong term, but this constant proving and fighting and proving and fighting and proving, that you're worth something, that you're worth listening to, that you're worth believing in or whatever. So I want to get rid of that lifestyle and I want to get rid of that thing. I want to get rid of that thought that I have to fight. I know that I have to work. I know that I have to work hard. I know that I have to continue. I know that I have to write. I have to tell my stories. I mean, I want my voice to be heard one day. I want my light to be seen. But this struggling part and this fighting part, no. Mm, no, I don't think so. I don't think so.